What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today we're going to talk about character. And the reason why I want to talk about character, because I believe there's a lack of character in the Pan-African pro-black community. There's a lack of character, and I think that's a big problem that we have. And the lack of character, it limits our ability to get the things done that we want to do, to accomplish the missions that we set out for ourselves, right? And I think it's one of the most important things that we never talk about, because in the age of information, in the age of where everybody can get online and talk and disseminate the things that they want to disseminate to the masses, right? We have an unprecedented ability to talk to millions of people. Anybody can talk to millions of people at any time. You know, you never know how many people you can reach with your words. And the thing is, a lot of people are very irresponsible with their words. They don't understand, or they don't care that their words could possibly have consequences, right? So as I sit back, you know, and I'll watch for years now, I've been watching all these pro-black Pan-African panels, which I was very excited for, because I was like, okay, now black people are finally getting online, having adult conversations about issues that affect us and impact us as a community, right? And there are a lot of forums, and there are a lot of channels in the black space where the people are very professional. You know, even if they have controversial topics, they know how to conduct themselves as adults, right? They know how to conduct themselves as responsible professionals, at least the professionals they at least want to pretend to be online, right, in the media. Because if YouTube, I know a lot of people say, oh, YouTubers are a joke, but no, YouTube it's new media. If you are online and people are watching you, you are part of the media. You are a media figure. Therefore, you have a responsibility to act like it, right? Because you're representing something, right? So if you're a black man and you're representing black men, when you talk, when you come online, that's what you represent. You're the ambassador for that black man, for the black men. So anything you do, people gonna say, see, that's what black people do. And see, we have a lot of pro-black, and we have a lot of Pan-Africans who they don't have any character. I mean, they're very embarrassing to black people, right? Not only do they not have character, they don't have discipline, right? So you would watch panels where people would have controversial topics, and they would be debating each other, and you'll have people who have debate discipline and people who don't have debate discipline. You have people who don't know how to talk in turn because they feel like the person that they're talking to or their opponent has said something that triggered them. Now they want to cut them off while they're talking. We see grown-ass men that's supposed to be elders, right? Like a lot of us on here, we're in our late 30s, 40s. You got some in their 50s, some even in their 60s. And when they're having a conversation, you would assume that a person that age would not know how to be calm, cool, and collected, and to have an adult conversation, even if the topic is controversial, or if the topic is very healthy, right? I've witnessed a lot of people who say they want to be leaders, who call themselves the kings of Pan-Africanism, who call themselves leaders and want to galvanize the people towards their cause. I see a lot of people limit themselves because their display, their representation of themselves online has been embarrassing, right? I can YouTube most of these so-called leader Pan-African pro-black, you know, these people, and I can find a clip of them embarrassing themselves, embarrassing black men, embarrassing Africans on the internet, embarrassing themselves. And some of them, they're not even aware that they're embarrassing themselves, that they're not putting their best foot forward, that they're not displaying the best that they have to offer. Some people they have bad spirits, bad energy. They're too egotistical. They're xenophobic. They think they know everything. They think they're the smartest person in the room. They think their position is the only position and every other position is lesser than, right? You got people that don't have debate discipline. They don't know how to actually have a debate. They don't know how to comprehend information. They don't know how to intake new information and process that and move forward. You got a lot of people who want to debate, yet when their opponent is saying something and when they're laying out their evidence, they simply dismiss it. You can't have a conversation with a person that don't know how to have a conversation. It's a waste of time. And many times I've watched these so-called Pan-Africans, these so-called black nationalists, these so-called pro-black people I watched many a times where they're being challenged on their position by somebody that's calm, cool, collected, measured, and speaking facts and giving receipts. Yet what those people would do, because they may be losing the argument, or maybe they don't have enough facts to back up the thing that they're saying, what they'll do is they'll filibuster, right? Filibustering is one of the main things these pseudo intellectuals like to do. They like to filibuster, meaning I'm gonna just talk louder and I'm gonna cut you off. Maybe I'll insert some sort of disrespect. I'll insert some sort of insult, because if you notice, a lot of these guys, they use insults to cover up for the lack of their actual knowledge on any topic, right? So when they're lacking in the knowledge of a topic, or when they're challenged on something and they can't like debunk it, what they do, they go to insults and ad hominem attacks, right? That's what they do. And that's one of the first signs you can tell of a person who's a pseudo-intellectual, is when all they do is make personal attacks on somebody because they can't win an actual argument. Or what they do is they'll cut the person off who's trying to make an actual, they're trying to make an actual statement, and it won't allow them to actually finish their thought and finish their go, because they don't want the truth to come out, so they start to filibuster. Or what they'll do is they'll make a straw man argument, meaning the topic of destruction, the topic of discussion gets changed by the immature debater because they can't actually talk about the topic, or they don't have knowledge on the topic. So they literally straw man, they change the narrative, they reframe the argument so it can suit them, so they can at least sound intelligent when they're talking. But when in actuality, anybody who has any common sense about how debates works or how conversation works, anybody who's really good at comprehending or really good at communication can see it from a mile away, right? And many times I've seen on these multiple panels where that person will get called out for doing just that, and they'll just double down and filibuster. So for any rational human being, right? So for any person of note, for any elder that want to have a real conversation that builds, you can't have that with people that don't actually know how to debate, right? You even have some that results in insults to try to get you to debate. Like it's like we're in elementary school and somebody's like, well, you got a big head. Well, you got a big head. Okay, well, I'm gonna take your crayons because you got a big head. Like when you attack people because they don't want to engage in your circle jerk of chaos, your circle jerk of pseudo intellectual panels, that doesn't mean that person is afraid. That means that person more likely just don't want to waste their time, right? And I've been watching, and this is over the years, I've been watching a lot of these pseudo intellectual, so-called Pan-African, black nationalists, so-called kings of something here. They rather stroke their egos than actually do anything, and there's their egos that get in the way of their agenda. Even if they have good intentions, even if they do have a good mission, their egos, there's xenophobia. Some of them are xenophobic and don't even realize it, because they believe that whatever tribe they're part of, whether they're Africans, African Americans, Caribbeans, or whatever, they believe from their perspective that they are the center, they are the foundation, everybody else needs to fall in line, instead of actually building and allowing everybody to have a piece of that foundation and taking good information and taking good counsel from other people. You got some people that think just because they're old that they're automatically right. You got some people that think just because they're elders that they automatically are the leaders in the room. And that's a problem that we have in all communities, because it's them old fuckers, right, in politics and in business that fuck it over for everybody else who have progressive ideas, who want to move forward in life because they're still thinking about some medieval shit, right? We have to up the level of our character and discipline. You have to up, because the thing is, character is very important if you want people to follow you, if you want people to trust you, if you want people to believe in your vision. You got to have some sort of character. It's not saying you got to be boring, you got to be a square. You got to have some sort of personality. You got to have some sort of charisma. You got to have control of your emotions. A lot of these so-called black Pan-African, black nationalist people, they don't have control of their emotions. You're a man. If you are a true man, you have to have control of your emotions. That's like a measurement of being a real man, right? You ever see the movies where it'll be a situation where there's a scene where a woman comes, she's mad at the guy for whatever reason, and she's fighting him. She's beating his chest and hitting him and smacking him. What does the real man do? The stoic man stands there and they take the hit from the female because they understand that they're much stronger than the female. They understand that their body is built to take this type of pain, and that there's no need to reciprocate or to retaliate against the obviously weaker woman who's displaying her emotions, right? A real man also understands that women are emotional, and if they have an issue, they're gonna say what they gotta say, and more than likely they're gonna drop every nuke they possibly can drop, because that's just the nature of a woman. A man who understands women knows this. So when you see grown-ass men, on a panel who are in their 30s and 40s that can talk shit about a young lady for 2-3 hours, that is unbecoming of men. That is not something real men do. That is not something leaders do. You know, you don't, like 4 grown-ass men talking about a younger lady. It doesn't matter how irrational a woman is. It doesn't matter how emotional a woman gets, because if you, like I said, you know women, you know that's what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do, right? But to have a bunch of grown men for hours talk trash, belittle, and of course attack the woman sexually, implying that they have feeling, because that's the first thing immature men do when they want to attack a woman. What do? They attack their sexuality. They say, oh, since you're a woman, you must have been into a guy. That's literally the first, that's the most immature, that's literally the first thing immature boys do, is when they have an issue with a woman, they discredit them by saying, oh, you have sexual interest with such and such. Then you spread it across the internet, and everybody else, they just assume that's the case because you say it, and now you spread rumors and you've created a false narrative that you can't actually prove. The same way women do. Women do the same thing. When immature women, they argue with a man, what's the first thing they do? They say he got a little teeny weeny this and that. It's the first thing an immature woman does is emasculate the man because they want to attack the man. So they talk about his little penis, or they say he didn't last this long, or this and that. They attack his manlyhood. I think it's something inherent in nature, because even animals do the same thing. Female lions and female wolves, if they're attacking an aggressive male that they don't want in their pack, the first thing they're gonna go for is the balls, because they know balls, that's very important for a man. They're gonna attack their manliness, right? A lot of animals go for the balls. If you know anything about dog fighting, sometimes the dogs will go for balls, and if you have 2 dog fighters, if you own a dog, you'll be like, hey, does your dog attack balls? Because if your dog is a ball attacker, then we're not even gonna have this, because I don't need your dog really hurt my dog, especially if it's not to the depth, you know what I'm saying? Because that's something that in nature that we're programmed to do, is to attack the masculinity, attack the ability to procreate with something that we are intimidated by, right? That's why as black men, what's the first thing every other race do? They cut off our balls because they're intimidated by overwhelming masculinity and our power, and they don't want their women to procreate with us, because they know they're women. We've been attracted to our overwhelming masculinity. That's just what happened. So immature males, when they want to argue or they want to discredit a woman, they always attack them and say, oh, you must have liked somebody, or you must have do that, right? And like immature women, they attack the man's private parts and this and that, right? So if you are a adult, right, you can recognize and see these things in these people that want to be leaders. Like for instance, Alexis Fowler made a 29 video, I think it was like a 29-minute video about a grievance that she had. It had to do with a transaction, okay? It was a transaction. The main point was the transaction. But these grown men decided they were going to spend an hour and a half talking shit and belittling and sex shaming a woman simply, and not even really addressing the actual infraction, because that's the best they can do. That's as far as they can go, right? That's how immature. That's how immature they are, right? So who would want to be associated with these people who say that they are leaders and they do such things like that, right? So that's what I'm saying. You got all these people, they're not aware of themselves. And the thing is, I really don't have to, some people, you don't really have to like talk trash about them, right? You don't have to really, I don't even really have to state any of this, because it's so obvious. A lot of these people who have grievances with some of the things that I say, keep in mind, everybody that I'm talking about, they spend their time on the internet judging other people and doing exactly what I'm doing to them, which is critiquing what they do, right? That's what everybody does, right? So, just like I've defended most of all these black pro-black, pan-African, black nationalists on the internet with all their panels and shit. I've defended every one of them at some point in time, right? But they only notice it when they start to get critiqued, right? Because their egos get involved and they can't believe that somebody can tell them something, even though these people put themselves on such a high pedestal that they believe that they are above judgment, right? But a lot of these guys are lacking in character, and lacking in character will limit you because no one's going to follow you. No one is going to follow you if they look at you and they see a disgusting, nasty, dark soul, xenophobic, disrespectful person who say they want to liberate their people, right? Nobody's gonna galvanize to that. If you got a personality that's dry and dead, nobody's gonna galvanize to that. If you believe women are not an equal part of your movement and you constantly disrespect black women, how can you call yourself pro-black and pro-pan-African when you only really care about the black men? You don't care about the black women, or you want the black women to stay in a place. You want the black women to stay down here or shut up while the black men do all the actual lifting. When in history, for black power to work, the institution is the black man and the black woman. Our black women are an integral part of Pan-Africanism, of pro-blackness, of black nationalism. And if we don't respect our women, then it's a dead mission. If we don't elevate our women, then we can't possibly really, truly, and honestly want prosperity for black people, because our women have a role to play. Our women need to be respected. Our women are disrespected by everybody else. Why do they need another group of black people to constantly disrespect them, especially ones that call themselves pro-black and pan-African? So if the pan-African and the pro-black, if the pan-African and the pro-black man are also disrespecting the black women systematically and within their mission statement, then where the hell does the black woman go when she's ready to fight the good fight? She got to be by herself because her man is not there. The man is her partner is not there, right? So she got to go it alone. So that keeps us divided and weak, right? So we as black people, if you're gonna call yourself a pan-African, if you're gonna be pro-black, the ones that are lacking in character need to work on their character. They need to represent themselves like leaders that they want to be, right? If you're an elder, act like an elder. I'm a chief, all right? Not a play chief, not a tourist chief, not a chief for fake, not one of those, oh, I came to Africa once and I became a chief and I paid $50. Not one. I'm a real chief. Therefore, I carry myself with that level of respect, right? That's what I do. My name is Babagua, Eli Oregon, all right? That's my name. And I have to live up to that. I'm also a former United States Marine. I live up to that. I've been an ambassador for black people since I was 17 years old. So I know how to act in public. So when I go online, I know how to act because I act like if my mother was watching. A lot of these black so-called pan-African, pro-black, black nationalists, they act like they don't have mothers. Like they act like they've never had a mother. They act like they've never had a sister. They act like they don't have daughters. It's almost scary that some of these people have daughters. Because it's like, if that's how you treat women, how do you treat your daughter? And I'm not making any assumptions to anybody who do have daughters. I'm just saying in general. All right, so that wasn't for homeboy, because he seems like he's a good father. I'm not saying he's not a good father. He looks like a good father. I believe he's a great father, to be honest, right? But I'm just saying we have to level up our character. Because if you think you can be super ghetto, you think you can be over the top brash, you think you can be over the top incendiary, right? You think you can dismiss other people's opinions and filibuster and straw man and reframe arguments. If you think you can do all of that, if you think that you can play this, and you think you do that, and anybody's gonna really truly take you seriously, you're sadly mistaken. So all I'm saying is, and I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? But I do know that I work on my character. I do know that when I'm online, when I make my videos, I know when people see me, they say, you know, that's a respectable black man. You should see my comment section. I even hear some of these pro-black, pan-African black nationalists say they don't even respect their subscribers. They don't even take their subscribers' advice into consideration. They don't even listen to their subscribers because they are the smartest person in the room and they know better than everybody. Everybody know on my channel that what I say, learn something, teach something. That means I have subscribers that subscribe to me that I know are smarter than me. And they give me good counsel and I listen to them, right? I listened to a subscriber today, gave me some advice. Now listen to them, because I'm not better than anybody that listens to me. I don't have an ego. I don't need my ego. That's not necessary for me to do the things that I'm doing. I used to have an ego. Oh, hell yeah. But I don't now, because I've been working on myself as an adult, because I'm grown. And the older I get, the wiser I get. And that's one of the things that you're supposed to do as you get older. The older you get, the wiser you get. The calmer you're supposed to get. The more calm, cool, and collected you're supposed to get. The more you're supposed to be stoic. You're supposed to be able to handle more and more stressful situations. You're supposed to see the entire chessboard. You're supposed to see the entire map in its totality. You're supposed to have total control of your emotions as to not let outside influences take you out your frame. But a lot of these so-called pro-black, pan-African black nationalists, they allow themselves to be taken out of their frame by just a little bit, just the smallest acrimonious altercation or challenge from anybody else who they're talking to at the time. That's why I don't waste my time on these panels, on these chitlin circuits, talking to these people that do not have enough character for me to go on there and associate myself with. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section about character, because it's important that if you're going to be a Pan-African, you're going to represent African Americans, you're going to represent black people. If you're going to represent you really about that movement, that you need to develop your character along with your intellectual knowledge and various other things, you know, when it comes to being capable and moving the ball forward. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some teaching. I'm out.